Okay, here's segment number 3. And I said I'd talk about the Fibonacci series, and here it is. Some actually start with 0. But just to be consistent with what we know about universally, we'll go with series here. It's pretty obvious. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. Remember the previous two numbers. So 5 plus 3 is 8. 13 is 8 plus 5. 21 is 13 plus 8. 34, 21 plus 13. 55, 34 plus 21. And so on. And you can just keep going on and on and on. This is an infinite series. Here's the beauty of this. It's important to understand this Fibonacci sequence. Why? Because when you get to the number 55, what you'll see is that not only are all these numbers related by a factor of 11, but if you'll notice, as you get bigger and bigger, what happens? The coefficient that multiplies this factor of 11 is actually going to increment according to the preceding Fibonacci sequence. You'll see this. We had 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, and here we go again. 89 is 8 times 11 plus 1. There's 1. 144, 13 times 11 plus 1. 233, which is 89 plus 144. But what is it? 21 times 11 plus 2. And we'll just keep going. We got this number here, which is 233 plus 144 gives you 377. And what is that? 34 times 11 plus 3. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 5. And you'll find that as the coefficients get larger, they too become factors of 11. Squares of 11, cubes of 11. So this is it. This is the Fibonacci series with a factor of 11 nested inside of it. No big secret, but you have to just do this little bit of math to realize that. So now we've got this idea that the Fibonacci sequence or series is related to this number 11. Such a special number it is in this case. But it's more special than even that. But before we go further, we need to do one more little exercise. And we'll do it right now. And I hope no one is averse to playing games, because that's what this is. Essentially, it's a game. Here we'll take two numbers, 50 and 40. We'll add them together. That makes 90. Now, the way this game is played is we're going to forget about all zeros, wherever they may be. We want to find a combination of numbers that, when added to 90, will give us a new number which can make another 9. For instance, we knock that 0 off. 5 and 4 is just 9. So let's try 27. So we have 90 and 27. That makes 117. Now look at that. 2 plus 7 is 9, and 1 and 8 is 9, or 11 and 7 is 9. But we still get this value of 9. Do we have another combination that will work with this? I think so. Let's try this. 36. And that gives us 153. So if you notice, this is the property of the number 9. It's not magic, but this is a well-known property of the number 9. Because any combination of digits when added together that gives you 9 will also be divisible by 9. That's very interesting. There are other properties of the number 9 as well. But right now, let's just look at this again. Because you really need to see this. We have 50. We have 40. 27. 36. Makes 153. There's that 153. Which also, by the way, if you add 1 and 5 and 3 together, you get 9. And why is that important? Well, remember this? Most folks don't realize is that this thing didn't even exist in this form until an official Congress, if you will, the old world, called the Council of Nicaea, which was presided over by the reigning emperor of the world at that time. And what did he do? He had 77, roughly, scholarly Greeks translate Latin into English and gave us what we now call the Bible. It's two parts. It's an Old Testament and a New Testament. And the Old Testament didn't exist in complete form either. It came about as a reaction to what Christianity had done. But nonetheless, the first 5 books of the Old Testament, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, didn't exist either, except in the memory of 2 sets of people who eventually came back together after many of them had been exiled in Babylon. And so this was compiled, the first part of it. And all that could be remembered are written down in the books of Moses. Was given to us in this format. Numbers included. Or maybe they were added on later after the Israelites were sent back to Jerusalem from Babylon by Cyrus the Great. So what point am I making? Genesis has 50 chapters. Exodus, 40. You guessed it. Leviticus, 27. Numbers, 36. Oh, okay, this is a coincidence, right? Let's look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth law book of the Old Testament. So let's go to the fourth gospel of the New Testament. Where are we going to go? We're going to go, if you will, the fourth gospel known as John. And we're going to go to the 21st chapter and the 11th verse. There it is. Now we're going to get to the real meat of this, because after I show you this, maybe you can see. Well, you need to look at this 153. It's the key. The key. So there we go. There we go, John. 21, 11. Now I'll read it. Simon Peter therefore went on board and drew the net to land, full of big fishes, 153 of them. But although there were so many, the net did not burst. Well, that's amazing. That's one of those miracles performed by the Christ. So let's look at that. 21:11 and 153. What can we say about that? Well, we don't know anything about these clues, where they're leading us to. But we know this. 21 plus 1 equals 22. And half of 22 equals 11. There it is right there. See that? But what's 153? Well, that's a little harder to see. But we do know that 153 equals what? 17 times what? 9. So let's look at that. 17 plus 1 equals 18. And half of that equals 9. See that? But that's not the relationship between 9 and 11. You need to really see. Because there is a much cleaner specific reference involving 9 and 11. But again, you need 153, which is what John is pointing to know where to go. So here's the first clue. And we're really going to get into the meat of this. Because what you see here, just like the Fibonacci number, was always in these books. Or rather, this Bible, all of them. They may have changed the words, limited a few things, changed verses up and down, here and there. But for the most part, they could not escape the reality of this. They numbered everything. And that's where the real secrets lie. So, let's go right to it, shall we? Let's just look. It's an index now. There are many more references to 153, but we're going to go right to the best one yet. How do you find it? We'll go to where? Well, in the Catholic version, there are 4 books of the Kings. 4 Gospels, 4 books of the Kings. So let's go to the first book of the Kings, chapter 1. Oh, what have we? 1 Kings has 53 verses. Well, now, what a coincidence. 1 Kings has 53 verses. What could that possibly mean? So we'll look at that. I'm getting closer to understanding what all this means. Okay, that'll have to do for this segment. A little more to prepare now. Thank you.